Good morning. How is everyone this morning? Thank you for your patience. We just had a little technical operational difficulties. Everything is squared away now. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce our speaker today. It is Mr. Dave Shellcross. He is from our Attorney General's office, and he is going to be speaking about fraud, jams, and scams. There's a lot of it out there, right? So, and it's always evolving, right? So Mr. Shellcross is going to be talking about that and answering questions you might have. If we could hold our questions to the end, that would be wonderful. Without any further ado, Mr. Shellcross. Thank you.
Thank you very much. How's everyone doing this morning? Great. Well, thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here on behalf of our Attorney General, Michelle Henry. She sends her best kind regards. And we're providing you this information as a resource. So we are the Office of the Attorney General. We're the Commonwealth's chief law enforcement agency. So we are, on simplest terms, we're like the FBI, but for Pennsylvania. We do criminal investigations. We have undercover agents. We have a surveillance aircraft. We have a SWAT team called Special Operations Group. We do wiretap surveillance. We run the grand jury for Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We have a narcotics task force, a gun strike force. We investigate insurance fraud, identity theft, all sorts of things. So they bring us here into the community to educate and provide resources. We are not giving legal advice. Nothing I say is legal advice. I'm not even an attorney. My background was on the law enforcement side, not the attorney side. So I've been in law enforcement and public safety for about 44 years. So I started out as an auxiliary police officer in Bristol, Pennsylvania, became a sheriff's deputy in 1986, did 20 years of service to the sheriff's office. I was the investigator in charge of their fugitive and identification division. Left there to do 1 year as a federal contractor assigned to Homeland Security. I left the Homeland Security opportunity. They offered me a full-time job, but has anyone heard of Artesia, New Mexico? Yeah, that's why I didn't take it. That's where it was. It was in the middle of no place, and my wife was like, yeah, I don't think so. So luckily I said no, because a short time later, a few weeks later actually, I was hired by the Attorney General's office, and that's been 15 years. So I come to you with a lot of background in identification, identity theft, fraud, and law enforcement in general. So today we're going to talk about scams, and these are complaints that we have received. So these are all based on actual complaints from consumers, citizens. So we take this information and share it. We don't share people's names. We don't share their home addresses. We don't share any personal information, but we share the story. This is what happened to others. And in that light, we want you to use that information to better protect yourself and guard against becoming a victim of one of these schemes. And that's key, right? As we grow older, we become vulnerable. Not everybody's extremely vulnerable, but we are all a little bit. I know I find myself so focused on work, if I answer the phone and I'm not thinking, I sometimes pick up a call I know I shouldn't have answered because I don't know the person. I see a number, but because of the nature of what I do, I travel all over the state. I see almost any phone number, and I'm wondering, could that be a work call that I better answer? Especially on my government phone. So I, too, answer calls that we really don't need to. But I'm going to emphasize to you some of the things that you can do to better protect yourself and not fall to these schemes and these frauds. Our office is providing you with information. Our website is attorneygeneral.gov. Great things there, resources and info. We have a toll-free telephone number during business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to about 5 p.m., 5:30 p.m. You can call the Senior Helpline, and that is 1-866-623-2137. You don't have to write it down. I got some booklets I'm going to leave on the way out for everybody to pick up, okay? It has our number on it. You can also email us at seniors@attorneygeneral.gov. Now, the thing that messes everybody up is we don't have PA in our email address or our website. And the reason for that is people go, well, why wouldn't you put Pennsylvania in there? We were the first Attorney General in the country to have a website. So when they created it, no one thought, we better put PA in here, because we were number one. We thought, well, we're just attorneygeneral.gov, and that's what we are. So that doesn't, I don't want that to confuse you when you start thinking, well, wait, I don't see Pennsylvania. We are the PA Attorney General, not the U.S. Attorney, right? But that information will be available at the end of the program. I will put some booklets up there of our phone numbers, some tips, and things that you might find useful. So with that, we're going to get right into the slides. And the first one is what we call the tech repair scam. So by show of hands, how many people are online using their computer, their smartphone, a tablet, a laptop, anybody? Oh, wow, yeah, almost everyone, right? And that's great. When I started 15 years ago, I'd get maybe 5 people at a crowd this big. Now, there's only like maybe 4 or 5 people that don't raise their hand. So we're all learning and engaging in technology more and more. And it's funny because my grandkids, I just saw them last night, going to be 9 and 5. They're a wizard. They pick up the iPad or the tablet and they're doing everything. Boom, boom, boom. I'm like, wait a minute, what are you doing? But I know, like, when I first started using a computer, I had to learn. And it was a little bit of a challenge, right? So as we learn, as we're older, it takes more to learn. When you're young, you absorb it quickly and it becomes second nature. When you're on your computer now or your device, and that includes your smartphone because they are like little computers, sometimes we get impatient. How many people think their device runs slow? Yeah. I remember watching my son stand in front of the microwave and do this. 30 seconds is too long for a burrito. Go have a seat, right? We had to cook a meal. It took 3 hours, right, folks? So we all get impatient, and that's how this scam works. The scammer knows that we're impatient. The scammer might think that we are new to technology, and it might be something we don't fully understand. So the scammer takes that information and will send you a pop-up on your screen that says, warning, your computer has contained a virus. And that's going to freak you out. Oh, what do I do? Sometimes the screen flashes and alarms you, or it'll make a lot of noise and tell you there's a problem. Others, they might call you on the phone and indicate that they have detected a problem in your network. Maybe they're going to say they're Microsoft or Apple, right, or Google. They're going to use some big name that's in the tech industry to try to fool you into thinking that's your service provider when they're not. The bottom line is, have you ever tried to get customer service when you did have a problem? That's not so easy, right? So what are the chances that they're calling you ahead of time, warning you there's a problem about to occur? It's not going to happen. It doesn't work that way, right? You find out after you have a problem. So right away, anyone announcing to you that there's a compromise in your computer is probably a scam. And if you're still not sure, the best thing you can do is immediately disconnect from the internet. If you have to power it down, if you have to pull the plug out of the wall. I've told my dad that. My dad's like, well, I got to hit this button and then go over here and hit that button. I said, at that point, pull the plug. Don't shut your computer off that way every night. That's going to damage it, right? But this, to me, is an emergency. If someone's trying to infiltrate your network, get into your computer, what's in our computers that's of value? Anybody? What do you think? Everything. There's the one answer for all, right? But we have our personal contacts, our family and friends, email addresses, phone numbers, home addresses, names. We also might have a credit card saved for our online shopping accounts. You have all your passwords, because as you type it, if they're in that computer, they can see every key you hit. So everything you type, they get a copy of. Logins, passwords, financial decisions. If you're doing your online banking, they now know your account number, how to get into that account. So really, this is a gold mine for the bad guy. And for you, you better treat it like Fort Knox. Keep it secure. Lock it down. Don't let strangers take over your computer. Don't let people tell you what to type so they have control of the device. And if you detect that there might be somebody trying to get into your computer, power it off immediately, disconnect from the internet, and take it to a trusted source to have it looked at. So if there's a mom and pop computer store in Nazareth area, go there. You know, if they have a good reputation and you know they've been there for a while, that's fine. If you don't know where to go to one of these big stores, the electronic stores, right? They all have the kids at work. I just passed a truck, right? It says the geeks on it or something. They're going to look at your computer for you and tell you, was there an intrusion? Did someone get in past your firewall, your security software? And when you get that update, that little email or message that says, click here for free security update of your security firewall, should you click it? No, because it might be the bad guys. Bad guys love to pretend to be someone helpful. Because if you think, oh, it's time for me to update my security, oh, I can just click one button here and do it now, that's the bad guy. Because, you know, if you're going to update your security software, you probably have to pay a fee to Morton Antivirus or McAfee or whatever you have. So when you see that click here and it's automatically done for you, probably a scammer. Don't do it. Number 2, the sweetheart swindle, romance scams. And these are extremely sad because not only do they steal people's money, but they break people's hearts. And I just had the honor, last week I was out at Penn State College, and we put on 2 programs out there, actually. I did one for police officers, and we taught them about some of these issues and what to do and protecting our older adults from financial crimes. And then the following half of the week, we did a guardianship summit on powers of attorney and guardianship. How do we restrict that to not be so restrictive to people? How do we find alternatives that you still have some independence? So it was a great week out there for the office and for myself personally. But in the first half with the law enforcement side, we had a guest speaker who I have to give credit to. Her name is Kate Kleinart. Has anyone heard of Kate? She's been in the New York Times. She's been on Good Morning America. She was a victim of a romance scam, a sweetheart swindle. She had somebody she met on social media, and they were very friendly, and they commented on a couple of the things that she wrote and posted. Anybody use social media? Facebook, Instagram, any of that? A handful. Okay. So she met somebody, and they were chatting, and then it became like a friendship. And then that friendship advanced, the more they talked. And then he says, you know, I'd prefer that we're not on social media all the time because so many people are repeating what your comments are, that everyone has to chime in. Here's an app that we can talk privately. And she accepted the app, which is a program. An app is a program. And now they're chatting privately. Well, why do you think that person wanted her to chat privately? Any idea? To get some personal information, and so no one else would warn her this looks like a scam. If her friends and family saw the conversation developing, somebody might go, oh, Kate, what are you doing? Don't tell him that. Don't send him money. That's a scammer. But when it's a private conversation, there's no one to then observe and alert. So that's why the scammer wants it private. And this went on for months. Almost a year. This scam is not what we call a hit and run. A hit and run scam is, hey, your computer's damaged, you need to pay me a fee and I can repair it right here on the spot. You give them the gift card or the money and there was nothing wrong to begin with. That's a hit and run scam. One time, one call, they get your money and go. The romance scam, they groom you. They slowly ask for more and more and more until you're tapped out or figure it out. Kate lost everything. He kept telling her they were in love, they were going to get married. He sent photos of his kids. He said his wife passed away from cancer just a few years ago and hasn't ever dreamed that he would meet another woman that he could love. And oh, it was thick. But for her, she was lonely. She was isolated. She didn't have a large network of friends and family, so it meant the world to her, the words that he said. And he was poetic. He could really, silver tongue. I mean, I was thinking the guy was a pretty nice guy from the lines that she was showing us. Here's his messages. I'm like, wow, what a great thing to say to somebody. But it was all fake. She didn't know that. She couldn't believe that. She was in love. Even though they never actually met in person, you can get emotional after you've conversed with somebody online long enough. And that's what the scammers do. Build that relationship, build and instill that trust, and they get you to do things that you would say, well, I wouldn't fall for that. Here you are. She lost everything. And 3 months after going totally broke, her house burnt down. Nothing to do with the scammer, just bad luck. But she then became homeless, and the police assisted her. They did a great job trying to help her, but she went through this horrific experience because someone sent her a message and started to slowly build that trust and that relationship. When you're being talked to in a way that you enjoy and somebody seems very vested in you and has a genuine interest, it seems, it's easy to start accepting what they're telling you. He works out of the country and he can't come back for so many months, and he had a great storyline. And she fell for it. And I've had others that come in and I've seen messages that look like they're from a military person. Lieutenant Colonel Douglas was one that sticks in my mind. The name, it just sounds like an all-American kind of guy, right? Lieutenant Colonel Douglas, United States Marine Corps. And there's a photo of this handsome guy. Ladies, think of George Clooney in a dress uniform, right? Pretty good-looking guy, right? And he's sharp dressed, he's in his uniform, and he sends that photo, and that is emotional. That photo is like, wow, look at this guy. He's so handsome, and he's protecting our nation. And he's going to retire soon and is looking to relocate because he doesn't have any family. Well, he's going to relocate here at Nazareth to be with you. Your guys are friends now. You've been chatting online. You've sent him care packages with some homemade cookies, right? He gets some address in Iraq or someplace and you're mailing stuff, but that never really gets there. And he's got this person believing he's in the military serving, he's coming home to be with you, and then last minute there's an emergency. Yeah, I was off base on a Saturday. I saw the village children kicking the soccer ball, so I jumped in for good relations and build that trust with the children and broke my leg in 3 places. Now I need $12,000 to go to the Army hospital in Germany because I was off base. The government won't cover this. That's nonsense. But that's the story, and people believed it and mailed him money. And the guys are all smiling. Well, guess what? I have male victims too. Don't think you're exempt. When that woman who's 42 years younger than you sends you the bikini photo, I think Frank Sinatra posed that the best. How lucky can one guy be? Because that's not happening, all right? That's not happening. But people believe it because they want to believe. Oh, this young girl is so interested in me. Oh, I'm like a father figure, and she wants to get married? Oh, yeah. She wants your wallet. She wants to marry your account. But you fall for it, and you start sending her diamond bracelets and cash. And I had one guy send $477,000 in a year and a half to Michelle, who doesn't even exist. It was 2 Nigerian men. Wasn't even a woman on the other side of the computer. But they had photos of this young, good-looking girl, and they kept posting them and telling them that was Michelle. And Michelle had all sorts of bad luck. She lost her job because the company went bankrupt. No fault of her own. The company went out of business. She needed money for her rent. He sent money. Her car broke down, needed to get it fixed. He sent money. Oh, more bad news. The mechanic said it's not repairable. I need to buy a new car. He sent more money. Then, oh my gosh, I'm coming to be here with you, and my mother has cancer and needs a surgery, and she doesn't have health insurance, and he sends more money. And this just continued and continued and continued until it was detected by the United States Secret Service. And they called me and brought me in on the case with them, and we interviewed the victim. And he still, to the point of us showing him the photos of 2 Nigerian men picking up the cash at the FedEx drop where he was sending it, he still said they must be Michelle's friends. He still didn't believe because he had a cognitive issue. Sometimes as we age, our mind ages faster, and it starts to slip, and it doesn't start to detect fraudulent activity. You have trouble with financial decisions. You have trouble with memory sometimes. And not everyone, but I saw my mother-in-law go through dementia, and it was horrific. Horrific. And for the first 8 months, we didn't realize that's what was happening because it was slow. And then all of a sudden, it accelerated. And we knew she was having a hard time. So it could be a lot of reasons. But number one reason is emotional. All these scams have an emotional trigger. And we'll go over that at the end a little bit more. So be careful who you're talking to, and don't send money to someone you don't know. No matter what the story is. Verify before you comply. That's the rule. Next up is some investment scams. And I'm no financial wizard. I drove up here in a Chevy. I don't have a Rolls Royce or a Ferrari. All right, I'm a Chevy guy. That's what I drove up here today. But you know what? When someone tells you, here's an opportunity that's low risk and high return, they're selling you the Brooklyn Bridge. Everything has risk. And if it was that easy that it's so low risk and so high return, wouldn't everybody be a billionaire? Right? And one of the new things that they're using as that investment scheme is something that's hard to understand, and that's called cryptocurrency. How many people are very, very familiar and understand cryptocurrency and Bitcoin? Raise your hand. Anybody? I have three people that think they're very, very knowledgeable on it. Okay, great. The three of you might do okay, but could still lose everything, even though you think you know a lot about it. And it's not that you aren't smart, it's that it's an unregulated currency. There's no government control. There's no one watching what happens with it that has any say in it. That makes it unpredictable. When I invest in something, I look at its track record. And I look at its probability of moving up or moving down based on other conditions surrounding it. That's your basic investment look. When you take a look at something, you want to see its track record, its history, what developments are moving forward with it that are related to it, and what is the probability of it going up or going down. Crypto, there's no rhyme or reason. A coin right now, a Bitcoin brand, and Bitcoin's a brand of cryptocurrency. So think about when you go out and you're going to have dinner and you decide, I'm going to have a soda with my dinner. And the waiter says, what would you like? You go, I would like a soda. He's going to then go, well, what kind? Soda is a type of beverage, but there's Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, 7-Up, Orange Crush, there's a root beer, there's a zillion different brands of soda. There's about 32 brands of cryptocurrency that you probably haven't heard of. But everyone's heard the name Bitcoin because that's the biggest. Right now, one Bitcoin's worth about $26,000. And you could buy portions of a Bitcoin. You don't have to buy the whole Bitcoin. And now they have ATM machines at gas stations and convenience stores, and supermarkets are starting to put them in, where people can exchange real cash, U.S. cash dollars, for Bitcoin. Again, you get what's called a digital wallet. That's a little symbol that you scan with your smartphone. And then you get a key for the wallet, which is just a bunch of characters and numbers that you have to enter to open that wallet to put your Bitcoin in. Bitcoin's not a physical coin, it's digital. It's in the cyberspace. You're not handling real coins. And if you get tricked to give away your key, you lose all your money. If you put your money in someone else's wallet symbol and they tell you it's yours, but it's not yours, you've just given away your money and you can't get it back. And if you're not using a US-based exchange, which is like a bank where they exchange the cash to coin, there's no record of it. And they can do peer-to-peer, you to me, directly, without an exchange or a bank. And who's going to say that I gave you a fair deal or didn't? There's no one to report it to. No regulation. It's unsteady. A couple Bitcoin brands have already bottomed out and gone out of business and closed, and people lost millions and millions of dollars. Some people have made millions and millions of dollars. So there is an upside. You can make money. It's used for a lot of big corporations that deal worldwide because they don't have to worry about the exchange rate with each different country. They're all using the same crypto. It's equal. Today, then tomorrow, that $26,000 Bitcoin could be worth 3 times that, or it could be worth 0 tomorrow. Who knows? Just be careful. I'm not saying Bitcoin and crypto is all bad. It's used by a lot of criminals, though, because it's easy to launder the money that way. You can sell that Bitcoin, break that Bitcoin into more pieces, sell it to more people, trade it, and then it comes back to you in another format, and nobody's tracking it. So no one knows how much money the criminal actually made. You avoid taxes and all that kind of thing. So crypto is used by a lot of criminal activity. If you're being told it's an investment opportunity, do your homework. And here's the scary part. You might find everything the person tells you is true. This Bitcoin is going to be worth this much. This crypto is going to be doing this. And you might find it to be true. The other thing they might talk about is space travel. The aerospace industry has gone private, and it's booming. Private companies are doing more space exploration than NASA. There's more private rockets being launched than NASA is launching. And NASA is contracted with some of these private companies, SpaceX and Virgin and these other people. So you might be told there's an investment opportunity in private space travel. You can make billions of dollars. So you look up online, you read all these articles, and you find out, wow, this is real. But is the person that's pitching it to you associated with it? Maybe not. You have to check out the opportunity and the presenter, the person asking you for the money. Is that person licensed by the Securities Exchange Commission? Is that person actually who they say they are? Or is it another Charles Ponzi? You heard of the Ponzi scheme, right? Back in the early 1900s, came in from Italy over to Boston and then down to New York and was ripping people off. You put in money as an investment, and then I pay back the people before you with some of your money. Then I get 2 more people, and I pay people before them with some of their money. And then the people that started it go, wow, I'm making so much money, I'm doubling my money. They give me more money, and I divide that to my next layer of people. Until finally, I can't keep flipping it because I'm taking over half of each of those flips for myself. It collapses. That's a Ponzi scheme. Investments are risky. Do your homework. Deal with a trusted person, someone licensed to do so by the Securities Exchange Commission. Check them out with Pennsylvania Banking and Securities, and make sure you know what you're getting into and what the risks are. Be very careful. Technology investments are the new scam. They're using words that you may not fully understand. Things that are in the news, so you see it and you go, oh yeah, I saw that. That makes you believe in it because you saw it on TV or in the newspaper or online. That doesn't mean that the person pitching it really is attached to it or has any dealings with it that are legitimate. Be very careful. Front door fraud. Not every scam's technical. Now, is there anyone in the room that doesn't live here in the community? A couple. Okay, good. So if your doorbell rings or somebody knocks on your door, maybe you have one of those video doorbells. They're awesome. I recommend those. Not one brand, but the general idea of having a video doorbell. It will deter some of these people. If they see that, they're going to find a softer target, another home. They don't want to be on camera. But you might get somebody coming in, hey, I'm selling magazines to get through college. Could you help me out? Well, sure, you want to help out some young person trying to better themselves. What better pitch? But are they really in college? Do they have a school ID? Can they prove that they're going to school? Is the offer that they're selling legitimate? Order some magazines. If you order 4, I'm going to give you 5 magazines for no extra cost. Woo, that's great. Yeah, there goes your money out the window. You never get the magazine. They might come and say they're the water company or the electric company or the gas company, and there's a utility problem in the community, and they have to get into your home to check some water pressure, check the meter on your voltage, whatever. They're going to come some story. And a lot of times that's what we call a distraction scam. They keep you busy in the basement or at the back of the house, And what you don't see is the other person that's been waiting up the street comes in and goes through your valuables and steals everything while you're being kept occupied by the front door guy, right? Or gal. Sometimes it's women. We saw one where females were going around with a little child saying, "Hi, we used to live in the neighborhood. We were just back visiting. You remember Tommy. He used to walk by the front of your house on a stroller. If you were out front, we'd wave." And you're thinking, I don't remember these people, but yeah, sure. Tommy has to use your bathroom. Who's going to tell a little boy that he can't use the bathroom? Now they're in your house. The lady keeps you busy. The child's trained to go to the jewelry box in the bedroom upstairs. Oh yeah, believe it or not, right? These things happen. So don't open your door to a stranger. What's the most valuable thing in your home? Yeah, you. That's right. You are. Like, I know, I mean, when I was a kid, my grandparents, they didn't lock the house. They'd go out to the supermarket and come back and not lock the house. I remember my grandfather leaving the car in the driveway with the keys hanging out of the ignition and the door unlocked all night. It was like he didn't take the keys in and have them in his pocket. They stayed in the car. Nobody would touch it. Not today. And if you still think that's okay to do, you're going to find yourself a victim of a crime. Not that you've done anything wrong, but you just can't leave that opportunity there for people. Don't open that front door to someone you don't know. Keep it locked even when you're home. Like when you go out, you lock your door, I hope. But when you come back, you go in to get settled in, lock that door. Keep it locked. Watch out for strangers. What were we taught as kids? Don't talk to strangers. But as adults, we kind of forget that, don't we? I'm not saying don't say hello or be kind or smile. Don't engage in information. Don't exchange your name and address unless you really know why or who you're talking to. Don't let people just show up, especially not even at home. How about when you're out? Scammers like to wait in front of the supermarket, post offices, and where? The bank. For you to step out of that business and they approach you as you're on your way to your car. Why do they want to stand out in front of a supermarket, a post office, or a bank to engage you? Because they figure you must have some money or you wouldn't be at shopping and you wouldn't be going to the post office to mail things and you wouldn't be at the bank. That's when they can hit you up with, "Hey, hi, I got a little problem. I'm from out of town. I just did a job for somebody and they dropped me off here. They gave me a check, but it's not from this bank. They won't cash it for me. And I got to catch the train to get back to Montreal. Here, the check's for $500. If you would just give me $250 of it, you could keep the rest. You could put it in your bank account. Just go to the ATM and give me $250. You can have the rest of the money. That's all I need this week." And most people say, "Well, that's crazy. How about I give you $400 and I'll just keep the $100 for doing this for you?" Well, that would be fine. "Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir." And you got a bad check, it's going to bounce, and they're gone with your cash in your hand. That's how that works, right? Charity solicitation. How many people have been asked for a donation from a charitable organization? Right? On the phone? You get the phone calls? "Hi, how are you today? Hey, could we count on you again this year?" This year? Who is this? Children's Hospital. We're helping the children with cancer. How do you say no to that? Wounded warriors. Our American heroes need your help. That's hard, right? Hard to say no. But maybe it's a scam. It's the American Red Cross or the Salvation Army or United Way. There's some tornadoes that just came through Kansas. They need help there. Terrible fires in Maui. They need your help in Hawaii. Terrible flooding in Texas. Could we count on you to help us out? Maybe it's by mail. How many people get the free address labels? Bookmarks, coins, you get all that, right? I have so many free address labels I could wallpaper this room. I don't know what to do with these things. I don't send that many letters anymore, right? I save them for Christmas. I put them on all my Christmas cards. But you're not obligated to send back a check just because you got a free gift. The law states you didn't request it, you didn't order it, it's a gift. You can keep them, use them, shred them. I had one person at one of these seminars, I'll never forget. This older fellow says, you know, let me tell you what I do with them. I said, oh, okay. He goes, I get a request from this one charity asking for money, and they send me a coin. Then I get another request from another charity. They send me some address labels. I put each other's junk in each other's return envelopes and mail them each other's crap. I said, oh, that's pretty good, right? So if you're really bored, you can send stuff back to the charities from each other, right? But the bottom line is don't give because someone's asking. Am I saying don't support charity? No, that's not what I'm saying. My wife and I support charity. We pick 4 charities every year. Sometimes they're the same 3 or 4 out of the 4 because we started to really like a couple of them. But we've done our homework. I went and searched online to make sure they were real, make sure they're registered with the Pennsylvania Department of State to be a charity asking for money in Pennsylvania. You have to register as the law. And we wanted to know how much is the solicitor taking out of the donation. When someone asks you for a donation on behalf of a charity, often they're not volunteers. They're paid marketing people. Whether by phone or by mail or online, even those GoFundMe pages, somebody's taking a cut. And you'd be surprised at the percentage that most marketing people are taking. A lot of times up to 80%. You're right there. 70 to 80 seems to be that average. That's horrific, right? So your dollar just became 30 cents, 20 cents. Is that where you want your money? No. So give directly on your own accord, on your timeline. Don't use the return mailer that they send you. Don't give it to the phone operator with your credit card over the phone. Go locally when you can and give directly and give locally. That's my point. That's what I do. And I make sure that they get the whole amount of money. I write them a check and I get a receipt. And I also, before I even do that, I ask for last year's financial report from the charity to see how they spend the money they collect to make sure it's going to the proper causes that I want to support, right? And watch out for political junk mail asking you to support a candidate or a cause. Same rule, don't just give because somebody asked. Do your homework. Make sure, A, it's real, because scammers will pretend to be a charity because they know it pulls on your heartstrings, more emotions, right? Impersonators. People will pretend to be the government. They'll come out and say, this is the IRS, and you're in trouble. Nobody wants to mess with the IRS, right? You know, it's like the boogeyman for adults, right? The tax guy. Whoa, what? They might say there's Social Security Administration, and there's an issue with your Social Security number. It was used in a crime, so the FBI has authorized us to give you a new Social Security number. You think that's going to happen? No. Well, if you're under witness protection, sir, don't raise your hand. Nobody knows you're here today. We call him Raymond here, but I can't tell you his name. But these are scams, right? They're going to trick you, pretend it's the government, even local government. You might get a call that says it's the county courthouse, and you missed jury duty this morning, and they're going to arrest you, or you could pay a $200 fine and be put on the jury list for next time. That's a scam. That's a scam. They're not going to call you and threaten to arrest you for missing jury duty day one. They're not going to call from the Social Security office and tell you you're getting a new number. They're not going to call and tell you you need to recite your Medicare number. The only time you give out your Medicare number is if you're receiving Medicare-approved services. There's no other reason to give out that number. These are scams. And the same thing with the financial institutions, the banks and credit card companies. People pretend to be the bank. I just had a victim about 6 months ago. He got a phone call, his phone rang, and on his caller ID, how many people have caller ID? Anybody use that, right? So you know who's calling. It said Wells Fargo, and that happened to be the man's bank. So he answered. Sir, this is Wells Fargo Security. We're calling because there was an attempt to hack your bank account at our branch. What? Oh, no. Oh, how much money did I lose? Sir, you didn't lose any money. We stopped it. We were on top of this. We actually have a number of these cases, so we're pending an investigation right now. And what we need you to do is we've set up a new secured account system for any victim where there was an attempt or a loss from Wells Fargo. Take these numbers down, move your money to this new account, and it will be guarded by Wells Fargo security. He went to the bank, gave the teller these numbers and said, I want to transfer my accounts to this account. And she went, okay. Boop, 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 boop. $88,000 was now sent to Hong Kong, and he'll never see it again. Wasn't Wells Fargo, but they told him, don't tell anyone in the bank why you're moving your money because it'll ruin the investigation. So he didn't say anything. Lost $88,000. I've had people been called by the credit card service. Did you buy a $5,000 flat screen TV today, ma'am, over at Best Buy? No, I don't shop there. Well, we flagged it as an unusual purchase. We're going to take those off, but to make sure that it's your account, you have to give us your account number, your expiration date, and the 3-digit security code so we can remove those charges. People spit out all their numbers. If it's the credit card company, they know those numbers. They're not asking you to provide it. They've called you. They should not ask you those questions. When a credit card company calls you about a suspicious occurrence on your account, they don't ask you the account number. They know it. They don't ask you your expiration date. They know it. All they ask you is, and it happened to me, my son lived in Arizona for about 8 years. And when he first moved, we went out there to see if he needed any help with anything. And I didn't think about calling the credit card company to say, I'm going to Arizona for 2 weeks. I got on the plane and went out there. I got off the plane, I went, got something to eat, bought something at the airport, I bought something in town, and my card got declined. I'm like, what's going on? My phone's ringing. Yep, it's the credit card company. Hi, is this Mr. Shawcross? Yes, it is. Sir, are you out of town? This is your credit card service. We see some out-of-state purchases that we don't normally see. I went, actually, I am. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, how long do you plan on being there? I said, about 2 weeks. We'll make a note on your account and continue to have a safe trip. Bye. Click. That was it. That's all the credit card company wants to know. Is it you that's spending at these locations? Then you're okay. They didn't ask me my account number. I didn't have to prove my date of birth. I didn't have to do anything except, yeah, I'm in Arizona. Okay, thank you. And the one thing they did tell me is my cell phone number matched their records, and I answered it, so they were good with that. They're not going to ask you account numbers and personal and financial information. So the rule is this, very easy if you remember it this way. I like to rhyme. I'm like Dr. Seuss. If your phone's ringing, don't go singing. So if somebody calls you, you don't give out information, okay? It's that easy, that easy. What else we got? Sweepstakes and lottery scams. Woo! How many people enter sweepstakes? This is when no one raises their hand, but they all play. Yeah, see, like no hands go up. I know you do, and it's okay. It's okay to enter a contest. It's okay to buy a lottery ticket. The difference is, when you haven't entered a contest and you didn't buy a ticket and someone says, hello, congratulations, you're the $1.5 million winner, you got to be in it to win it. If you didn't enter, you didn't win. And furthermore, who's heard of Publishers Clearinghouse? Right? Well, if you've been alive over the last 80 years, how would you not have heard of it? It's on TV every other day. That's a real sweepstakes. I've called their home offices and spoke to their people in their marketing department, and I said to them, I explained who I was. I'm Senior Protection Director at the Attorney General's office. They're like, oh, okay. I said, let me ask you a question. When you call someone and the lady says, we don't call anyone. I said, what? She says, sir, we do not call any of our winners. Nobody. She says, nope. I said, all right, well, maybe not the grand prize winner, but what about those smaller prizes? She says, nope. If you are a big winner, they show up at your front door just like the commercial. She told me that's absolutely true. That's what they do. If you're a big winner, they're coming to find you and surprise you. And if you're not home, they stake out your house like detectives on the night shift. But they come to your home. If you're a lower level winner, they told me they send out an overnight express envelope through the Postal Service, UPS, FedEx, one of those carriers. And that has your congratulations note and your check. That's how you get notified. There is no phone call. There's no phone call telling you, we'll be there tomorrow, so put on your best dress and be ready at the front door. That's nonsense. They do not warn you they're coming. And they told me that themselves. So then I said, you know what, there's another big sweepstakes, Reader's Digest. I see that all the time. And I see a lot of older folks like Reader's Digest because they make the large print. My grandmother loved it because she had a little bit of a vision problem. She could read it. So I called Reader's Digest in New York. And I found out from the publication side that they have a contract with someone else that runs the sweepstakes, and they gave me their number, which was also in New York City. I called there, and they said, you know what they told me? They don't call their winners either. You get an official overnight letter. Again, one of them big letter packs from UPS, FedEx. No phone call. No email. No regular business size letter. They don't call you.
You mean that call I got 2 weeks ago that I won $5.1 million?
Well, if it is correct, you're buying everybody dinner, and I better be invited. But, you know, did you enter a contest? No. Then you didn't win a contest. And you know what? I'm going to give you a short, funny story. You're going to like this. So, doing what I do every day, I get a phone call. And they're telling me, congratulations, you've won a prize. I go, yep, click, hang up. They call back. I go, click, I hang up. Next day, they call again. So this time, I want to talk to somebody. I'm like, yeah, tell me all about my prize. Guy says, well, you've been selected to win the Coca-Cola Heisman Award, blah, blah, blah. You're going to go to the Heisman Award in New York at Times Square, blah, blah, blah. The NFL cocktail party, blah, 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 blah. I said, no, I didn't. I didn't enter a contest. I hang up. Calls back. Sir, I have your entry form right here. I said, good, read it to me. He has my full name, my address, my phone number, my email address. But that could be found online at a lot of places, so I hang up again. Now this is day 4. I'm driving home from the office, and I just walk in my front door. My phone rings. It's that same number, so I answer it again. I said, buddy, if you keep calling me, let me tell you what I do. I'm with the Attorney General's office, and I tell people about scammers like you every day, and I'm not falling for it. Don't call here again. And I hang up the phone. My wife's on the sofa and says, oh, who are you talking to like that? Oh, my gosh. I said, this guy's driving me nuts. He's calling me about this Heisman Trophy Award from Coca-Cola. She jumps off the sofa and says, we won. I go, what? She was at a Wendy's fast food restaurant. They had the entry form. She did one in her name and one in my name and never told me. And guess what? We did. We won. I went and I watched Cam Newton live receive the Heisman Award in New York City. Went by limousine. They gave me a $500 gift card, and I attended an NFL Heisman Award winners cocktail party, and I had a great time. But that's after I called the man and apologized. Right? So, ladies, if you're entering your husband in a contest, please let them know. That would be great. But here's what I did, though. Before I accepted the prize, I verified everything the man said. He told me I was getting a limo. I said, what's the name of the limousine service? Wrote it down. You're getting a hotel room. Where's the hotel? The W Hotel in Times Square. That's like $3,000 a night. I'm not paying for that. So I wrote that down. Who's running this? Coca-Cola. I wrote that down. You're going to go to this. You're going to go to that. It's at this particular theater in New York in Times Square. I wrote that down. And then I looked up independently. I didn't trust the caller. I went and found the phone number for each of those businesses and entities. And I called every single one to say, hi. Oh, Coca-Cola, Atlanta, Georgia, how are you? Can I talk to someone in your marketing department in sweepstakes? Oh, yeah, sure. They connected me. Did you run a contest? Yes, we did. Was it for this? Yes, it was. Can you verify if I am on the list as a winner? Certainly. Give me your name. I gave her my name. She goes, oh, congratulations, David. Yes, you are. You're right here. I said, and what does this entitle me? And she recited back, you're going to get a limo ride. You're going to stay at the W Hotel. I'm like, yeah, okay, this sounds pretty real. I called the limo. They had a reservation with my name and address on it. I called the hotel. They had a reservation in my name. I said, well, who's paying for that $3,000 room? She goes, oh, it says here Coca-Cola Marketing. It's prepaid. So it was real because I verified it before I accepted it. So yeah, you can win something. But even if you're not sure, it doesn't hurt to double check every part of that before you accept it. So that's my story of how my wife got me embarrassed on the phone yelling at somebody. But we had a good time. We went and had fun. So it's okay to enter a contest. Just make sure you understand the contest rules and when is the drawing. I always put on the calendar, I don't enter this kind of stuff. My wife loves entering these things. I said, just mark on the calendar, Coca-Cola drawing is October 30th. That way, if somebody calls me on May 1st, I know it's not it, right? It doesn't match up, something's wrong. Big one is the grandparent scam. I had somebody just tell me about it, right? Phone rings, or you get a message, a text, or an email, and it says, Grandmom or Grandpop, oh, I'm in trouble. Your heart sinks. It's your grandchild, right? Oh, my. Is it? What do you do? What should you do?
Don't give them any information.
Don't give anything, right? Let them tell you. So ask a question. What kind of car does Grandpop drive? Buick? No. Right? Gotcha. Or, what's Grandma's cat's name, even if you don't have a cat? Trixie? I don't have a cat. Nice try, right? Call the family. Call your family member and ask if they're okay at home. Call someone, a relative. Call your son or daughter. Where's Jimmy, my grandson? I just got a strange call. Oh, he's right here on the sofa watching the Phillies. He's not in prison in Tijuana. Whoa. No, Mom, what are you talking about? You might be a little embarrassed, but you just saved yourself $10,000 making one phone call. Call and confirm. Verify before you comply. Because they're going to tell you, you got to send them $10,000, $5,000. I need bail money. Or I was in a bad accident. Grandma, I'm sorry. I was texting and driving. I know I'm not supposed to. And I hit this woman. And she doesn't have health insurance. If I don't pay her emergency room bill, they're having me arrested. And you send the first $5,000, and then you get a call back. They just told me she's pregnant and might lose the baby. They need another surgery. I need another $8,000. And people run to the bank and get the money because it's their grandchild. One phone call stops it. Call your grandchild. Call your family members. Check it out. When in doubt, check it out. It's that easy.
As I said before, let them tell you who they are.
Yep.
It's your grandson.
Which one? Right?
Which one?
That's good. That's good. And these are the kind of things you have to do, right? It's that simple. But here's a new twist. How many people have heard of AI, artificial intelligence on the computer? Now, our grandkids, our nieces, our nephews, our family are all on social media, right? They're TikToking and they're Instagramming and they're Snapchatting and they're putting videos up, and their voice and their face is all on the internet. So if I'm a bad guy, I'm going to find some kid on the internet where I can find out their name and what town they're from, and I'm going to capture that voice off that recording, or their face, and do a video capture, deep fake they call it. I can send you a photo, a video of your grandchild sitting in a chair with somebody holding a knife to their neck saying, if you don't send $20,000, you'll never see your granddaughter again. That's alarming because you see your granddaughter in the picture. But it's not. She's home, having a nice time, sitting around, playing with her dog. She's not there, held captive in a chair, but it looks like it. And then you hear the voice, Grandmom, you have to help me. And it's her voice. Of course, that's not what she said in the video that they stole. They can use the sound waves to reproduce her tone, her volume of speech, her pace of speech. Any affliction, any type of accent can be perfectly reproduced and will read through chatbot and other artificial intelligence programs anything they type. I'm being held kidnapped. If you don't send the money, they're going to kill me or hurt me. And it sounds real because it's your granddaughter's voice and or her picture. Don't fall for this stuff. Don't be so scared that you just do what they ask, because it's mostly probably fake. Call and verify. Call the house. Talk to somebody at home, right? Don't panic, because when you panic, that's when they got you. Right? Emotions. It's all of these are emotional triggers. None of these scams have anything to do with intelligence. Right? People always say, oh, I was so dumb. I go, no, don't say that. Don't be embarrassed to report it. If you don't report it, we can't do anything about it. Now, do we arrest a lot of people? No, because we don't have jurisdiction worldwide. And Interpol isn't investigating scams. They're too busy, and that's not what they do. But if there's a scammer in the U.S., we can go after them. If they're in Pennsylvania, it's fully our jurisdiction. But if it's elsewhere in the states, we partner with our federal partners. Some foreign countries cooperate, most do not. That's why most of these operate outside the U.S. They know we can't reach them. Our best tool is knowledge, education. That's why I'm here, to give you folks information that you can use to protect yourself so you don't have to worry. Number one tip is, if your phone's ringing, don't answer it. I don't care what the caller ID says. Bad guys can fake the caller ID, like the man who thought Wells Fargo was calling. It said it on the caller ID, Wells Fargo Bank, and their 800 number, and it was the real 800 service number. But it wasn't Wells Fargo. If I'm the bad guy, I can type any name and number I want before I call your number. And I use a computer to dial you. What's that? Technology. There is a law, but guess what? If I can't apprehend you, you don't have to face the penalties. If you're in Denmark doing this and I don't have jurisdiction there, how do I enforce that law? It's the same technology that allows you to know that it is the hospital calling your house. There's good and bad on it. Let me give you an example. Any Phillies fans? Right? Red October? The Phillies do a great job with a Louisville Slugger. But if I'm at North Diamond Street in Philadelphia and I come across a Louisville Slugger, it's not going to be a good experience. Should I ban the baseball bats from being sold? No. Because there's good use of a baseball bat, and then there's some bad use for a baseball bat. Same thing with that technology, sir. We can't just shut down the technology because a small portion of people are misusing it, right? But that's the problem. That's how we can't stop it. That's why I'm informing you, just don't trust it. If it says it's the courthouse, it probably isn't. If it's a local number, maybe it's very close to your own number, but different by 4 digits, that's probably not a neighbor. It's probably a scammer. And I've had victims tell me, I saw my own phone number, and I said, well, why the heck did you answer it? You weren't calling yourself. And, you know, we're getting close to Halloween. It might have been the guy in the attic with the hockey mask calling. I don't know. But why would you answer your own number? Curiosity. Ask the cat how that worked out, right? Don't answer. Let your voicemail take the message and listen to it carefully. Review it 2 or 3 times. Ask a friend or neighbor, what do you think? Did you hear this? I want you to hear this message. Does this sound like it's really the courthouse? And then simply find a number from a trusted source and verify. You can look up the number for the county courthouse, the sheriff's office, the FBI office, right? I think this is still the Philadelphia region FBI, or your Scranton office. They're the 2 closest FBI offices, Scranton and Philly. Call. If somebody tells you this is FBI agent Anderson and you're in some trouble, I'd be finding the real number and calling the FBI to see if that's true or not. I wouldn't just listen to what the person's telling me to do. If they're not there with ID at your front door, which is how usually law enforcement's going to approach this, we're not going to call you. During COVID, there was more phone calls than normal because the agents didn't want to go out and officers didn't want to be at your front door if they didn't have to be. But normally, you're going to get an officer or an agent in person with credentials asking you questions, not a threat over the telephone. Yes, sir.
How do you actually trust that? You know, they could have fake ID.
Yeah, that's a great question. Let me repeat that. He says, even if they come to your door, how do you know that's not fake ID? And I actually have a photo on my phone of a fake badge and federal identification that somebody used and tricked people. It's easy. When they're at your front door, you say, first, you don't open the door to a stranger, right? You talk through the peephole or through the window, and they show you that badge and ID. You go, okay, where are you from? Let me see a little closer. Hold on 1 second. And you go back and you dial 911, and you say, look, I got somebody at my front door showing me a badge telling me they're the FBI, but I don't know if that's real. Could you send a patrol car to check their credentials? Have your local police respond and verify the person. And if it's a real agent, they're going to understand that, and they're going to respect that, and they're not going to give you a hard time for doing that. Safety, your safety is paramount over anything else going on. That's my rule, right? Protect yourself first. And don't let someone scare you. Like one of the other things that we see schemes, especially fall, they're going to come around and tell you, oh, you have a possibility of a roof leak from all the storms, all the rain, or the leaves, your gutters are going to come off your roof, and then you're going to have structural problems. We can clean your gutters out. We're giving a discount today for seniors. Just give me $500. We'll be up and done in no time. You run to the bank, and they take off with the money, or they break into your house while you're at the bank getting the cash, right? We'll wait here. Yeah, they'll wait here. Right?
That's the Tinkers.
The Tinkers, yeah. Yep, absolutely.
They live right in Maryland. They go all over.
Yep. And there's travelers from all the way down in South Carolina that come up and down the I-95 corridor and perform schemes, scams, and frauds like this gentleman's saying. This gentleman's a retired officer. He's right on target. So these are the things that we see. And you've probably seen your whole career, right?
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah. So, we're here to just give you some information to use to protect yourself. And this is, if maybe you never heard of the scam. Maybe it's a new scam. They're always coming up with new ones. Here's the formula. You know how long it took me to come up with this thing? I went through 3 legal pads till I came up with something that made sense and said scam. So think about suddenly you're contacted, told to act now, and they're asking for money or information. It's most likely a scam. That's the formula. A sudden contact, they catch you off guard. Oh, you have to do it right now. This is now or never. This is it. And money or information. This is our contact information to reach us. I'm going to put some booklets out real quick. That way you can grab them on your way out. While I'm doing that, is there any questions I can try to answer? Oh, we got a whole bunch. Let's start in the very front. Yes.
What about getting these little tape for your envelope with your name and address? If you had that on there, can't that scammer find you?
Sure, they can, but most of the scammers are not in the U.S.
What do we do? Not use those anymore?
You can use them because most often they're not even around here. The scammer doesn't want to be seen. They don't want to get caught. So they're going to threaten you or scare you and tell you they're going to come to your house. They're not. That's very rare. I'm not going to say they'll never come to your house, but it's not likely. Does that help a little bit? Who else had a hand up? Yes.
Is there anything to this that when you pick up the phone and someone says, if you say yes?
Okay, I know exactly what you're asking about. If you get a phone call and someone asks you a question right off the bat, oh, is this the head of the household? Hi, are you a senior? Are you a veteran? Any kind of question, don't just answer yes. What you want to say is, why are you asking? And the reason you don't want to say yes is some of these people can actually record your voice, and then if they already have obtained your credit card number somehow, start billing you every month some small amount, $4.95, $5.95. And when you kind of catch up to that and go, oh my gosh, what's that charge? And you dispute it, they're going to tell the credit card company you approved it, and that's why they use that yes voice. Somebody else? Gentleman with the cap.
Yes. If you're in a store and you notice someone in close proximity kind of following you around, is there technology like Wi-Fi that they can steal your information?
Yes.
Phones, credit cards?
Yes. That's exactly true. So if you're If you see somebody that's getting up close to you in a store or in line at a show or a casino or a buffet, any place, RFID is called radio frequency identification. It's the technology in some of our credit and debit card security chips. That's the card when you walk up, you can just wave it in front of the terminal and it processes your sale. That card needs to be guarded and protected with a RFID blocking shield or blocking wallet. If I'm the bad guy, I can have a receiver in my pocket and just stand next to you for about 4 seconds, and I can read it right through your wallet or your purse and get your credit card data and walk away. That is true. Someone else? Well, they don't have the 3-digit number, but they don't need it if it's a tap and pay. So, you know, that's, or an online purchase, they're going to ask for the 3-digit number. But if I reproduce your card and I put that same frequency in it, it's going to read your chip, right? So that's why the best thing to use is a digital wallet. If you have a smartphone, I know people right away, oh, that sounds technical. It isn't. It's very simple. You take a photo of your credit card front and back into your phone, and it goes into a digital wallet, and it has NFC, near field communication, which means it has to actually be touched to make that sale. It's not just a wave a foot away. RFID can be read about 10 to 12 inches away. NFC has to be right on it. So then you have your phone, there's no mag stripe. The other way they get you on a card is they swipe the mag stripe and copy it. Somebody else? Yes?
I received 2 telephone calls, one yesterday and one this morning. It was the same woman telling me that somebody put a large amount, a purchase of a large amount on my credit card from my account.
Right.
So I hung up.
Good. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't even have answered it, but then did you call the customer service number for your credit card and ask about any inquiries? Well, that's what I would do. So on the back of every credit card is the customer service number. On every bank statement is the customer service number. Your electric bill, your phone bill, your cable TV bill, everything you get a statement every month has the customer service. That's your trusted resource to verify information. Call that number that you get every month on that statement and you know it's the real number. So I'm out of time because I have to be in Lower Bucks at 2 o'clock. So thank you very much. I got everybody a pen and a booklet, 2 booklets over on the counter. Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Mr. Shellcross, thank you very much. This was very informative, and we do appreciate that.